Okay, let's see if I can try to remember where I left off. I just had 2 clients. Um, so I left off on this quest. So this will be part 3. I started to, I believe, with my first intent was to go more of a scientific route. I didn't know this was going to turn into some sort of spiritual awakening. This is that was a wonderful surprise, and I didn't even realize that's what was happening until later. And so I'll get more into that on a different video. Like I said, I knew this was going to have to be a channel because there's so many layers to it, and it's really hard to articulate. It's really, really hard. It's really hard for me anyway. Like, I'm more of a writer. I'm not someone that likes to talk a whole lot, but I'm trying. So anyway, so through the quest so far, I went through detoxification, then therapy, talk therapy, whether it's with a person, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if it's with a therapist or using your own methods of talk therapy. It's just important to get it out and write it down. I like talking because, even though I don't like it, because it got me out of my comfort zone. Being complacent and being uncomfortable in my own skin and keeping it all in was not helpful at all. So, and the only way for me to talk, usually even with people that I loved, would be I had to use some sort of social lubricant. And so this was forcing me in a not so forceful way. It was assisting me break out of my shell and get comfortable saying things out loud, because that makes it real, and it makes it like, oh my gosh, like this is my reality, And so years ago, I discovered that I liked using the audio app just to do, just record whatever. But I started doing talk therapy that way years and years ago. I was not on this same quest. I was going through a breakup and a totally different situation. But this time, and I first started, back up. I actually first started using voice memos when I discovered how amazing meditation is, and deep meditation. So I used to do that back in 2015. So I already knew that was sort of a method. So I kind of reintroduced that as a tool, knowing, oh my gosh, I do like that tool. I'm gonna do that because journaling took too much time. And so I'm like, okay, Stacy, get rid of your old school, stuff. Let's start, we need to expedite this. So and then this time I wanted to do video, and that really, really, I still think the audio is great too, but the video, I was able to see changes, in my face, how I looked. So, and that is important to me. So, anyway, so detoxification, talk therapy, however you do it, through audio or writing journals, however, just getting it out. Walks, declutter your mind, declutter your environment, surround yourself with positive everything as much as you can. Purge, get rid of anything that doesn't serve you, anything that just gives you a bad feeling. Just get rid of it. As long as everyone's safe around you. And then submerge yourself in all your interests and all the things that are inspiring as much as you can. Just adopt more. Like, ooh, food. Oh, I didn't realize I like to cook. Or, listen to podcasts, read books, whatever. And, at first that's, that might sound like, oh God, it sounds just like a rehab, or that sounds, there's going to be this child that awakens in you that is just like, I want to go play. And it might take a few weeks, it might take a while, but it's going to come out. It's going to come out because if we've been depressed or self-medicating for an extended period of time, we've been repressing that part of us. everyone has that part of themselves, their higher self, their inner child, their soul, whatever you want to call it. It's in you and it wants to come out, and we've been repressing it for too long. So letting that out is part of surrendering. It's like okay, I surrendered, and I said, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. And so now it's almost like this power that's almost bigger than you comes out, and it's like, all right, let's play, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool. So submerging really helps. And then, so from there, I'm all about data and documentation, and looking for patterns and what patterns I want to break, and looking at it from a very rational perspective. But then over time, the whole like scientific approach just kind of was like, there's got to be something more to this. I've had so many great breakthroughs, and a lot of it was through listening to myself, listening to my intuition, knowing when it was time to go on a walk, knowing when it was time to write something down. Just I was starting to follow impulses that were healthy impulses, and when I would do it, I just felt so alive. And so I just kept letting that kind of guide me. I started doing I didn't really have many options as far as making money, so one of the activities, I guess, that helped me kind of break out of my I didn't want any kind of repetitive, we were in lockdown, so I started doing Postmates, and that really helped, because it was like I'm listening to music, I'm out on the road, I'm able to see what's going on without being in like lockdown, so there was some precautions, but it made me feel so much better just being out and feeling productive, and not just like cleaning my house and it gets old, so breaking out of your shell and just trying new things, new activities. That ended up saving me, and getting me a deposit to come into this new house. So because unemployment was really hard to deal with, and I went, I think, 4 months before I even got a penny from them. So that Postmates turned out to be like my only income, and hair. I was doing hair on the side too, so that helped keep me. And if I were drinking, there's no way I would have been able to do that. There's no way. I wouldn't have had the energy. I wouldn't have had enough energy, or I would have been really pushing myself to do it, and so I wouldn't have found joy in it. But I found joy in both. I was in some unique positions, unique situations that it almost felt like I was a different person already, just experiencing life through a different lens. And it gets more and more and more clear, and more and more and more fun. And then you start to just crave more new experiences and more challenges, and more, because every time you overcome a little something, that's a little win, and then you feel proud, like, oh my gosh, I'm proud of myself, and I have this emotional guidance scale to tell me I'm doing right or doing wrong, or you feel like, oh my gosh, this feels good. I wouldn't really let myself get to that level of emotion before, and it wasn't conscious. That I wasn't consciously doing that. Of course I want to feel joy, but I was so busy repressing and numbing that when you do that, when you're running away from anything, when you're running away from your problems and your pain and your traumas, and when I say traumas before, like, I did not have, like, my life's been pretty darn good. It really has. It's just these little things that we thought we were over, we thought we had overcome decades ago, start to kind of creep back up into our experience later in life. And I'm finding out more and more as to why. And I really think it has everything to do with we're not We're not equipped to deal with it. It has to be the right time and place in our life for us to handle it properly. Or for, maybe we do have to be brought down to our knees and in surrender mode to truly let it transcend and let it out of us once and for all. Because I remember battling for years, like, God, I feel like I have these demons inside me, but I'm like, I'm not angry at anyone. I don't understand. Like, why is there this anger or, whatever? And it would only come out when I drank. So I'm just like, what is it? Like, who are you? Can I help you? So yeah, this really allowed, I wasn't like intentionally trying to release traumas. I just was like, I'm going on a different path. And so they released themselves just by having the intention on bettering my life, just on abstaining from anything negative that would propel me back into, a not so good trajectory. Now it's basically, that's all it is changing your trajectory into something more positive. And so it's almost like, and I know it's not almost like, it is the divine part of this universe knows everything. So just humor me for a second here. The divine knows everything. Your higher self and your soul know everything. They know every possible timeline that could possibly happen, everything in your past, everything that could happen in the future, who you love, who you don't love. They know everything. They're like the infinite intelligence, and they know you on the most intimate levels. So let's pretend that's true, right? So if you're in alignment with your higher self, your soul, if you're in alignment and you're doing things that make you feel good and make you feel joy, and they're innocent things, only good things will start to manifest. And I guess I knew that before, but I didn't really practice it. I didn't test it to see if that were true. So this is where, even if you're taking the scientific approach, you will find out there is a God, because if you don't already believe that. Because if you're doing something with the intention of it being something pure and innocent and good and going to help you and your soul and possibly your family and anyone around you, it might not be instantaneous, but there will be this new vibration. And through that, via the law of attraction, only good things, only what you're putting out will come back in. That's just how it works. It might take a little bit. There might be the bigger the thing you want, the longer incubation period it might take, but I was learning this subconsciously. I was just doing it. I was following my higher self. I was in alignment because I had spent just a few weeks really clearing all the negativity that was in my body and in my mind, and then just anything that was trapped in there. So when everything starts to just flow, everything starts to become more airy and light, then your impulses are going to start being good. There's going to be good intent behind them. And not that I was ever had bad ones. It's just that I was stuck in this lower vibration, just kind of doing the bare minimum. So that's what I got out of life. The bare minimum. Like, I got like just enough to survive. No wonder I wasn't happy, So now I'm planting all these seeds, and all these things are blossoming right in front of me, before my very eyes, before my own eyes. And not just for me to see. My friends and family started to see it immediately. Like, oh my gosh, like, inviting them to my house, and they're like, holy crap, this is like a whole, like, whoa, what have you done here? This is amazing. And there was just little baby steps at first, but then these huge leaps, these big old leaps. And I didn't think I had it in me before. There's days I would wake up, be like, who is this? Like, I'm up at 5 a.m. and I want to do jumping jacks. Like, that was like, I did not think that was gonna be in my future. But I forgot to mention this. This was really big. I noticed the first few weeks. Actually, the first few days. Once I got over, like, I'm not drinking anymore. Once I got over that, like, poor me crap. I started to get such bursts of energy, and so, like, I kind of missed this kind of a natural high I was on, but I would get these bursts, like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. Oh, and then I'll do this. Oh, and then I'll do that. Let me write this down. Let me grab a piece of paper. Just creative overload. It was just like, I honestly don't think you have to be a creative person to be in this kind of, all your creative juices are flowing. And it's just like, what it felt like was all the years, or all the hours, however you want to look at it, of time that I spent wasted. My higher self was just like, nope, well, you got a lot of catching up to do. But it didn't feel like a chore. It didn't feel like, oh, I don't want to. No, none of that at all. I was inspired to do it. I wanted to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this? I love this person. This person is so fun and so great, like, let's go. Finally. I was even posting, like, I think I made an exception to go on Facebook because I was doing like a truckload of stuff to bring to Goodwill, and I just put it out there, like, who else has stuff they need to take to Goodwill? And then, like, I had like 3 phone calls, like, oh yeah, can you stop by my house? I'm on Amridge. Can you stop by my house? I'm on Commonwealth, and blah blah blah. I've been to people's houses that haven't even been there before, and they're like, who is this? But it felt good, it just. Oh, and then I did a couple drop-offs. I was purging stuff and then just posted something on Instagram, like, who needs these containers, or who could use these DVDs, or whatever. And then they gave me kind of that sense of community and connectedness, like, I didn't realize, because for years I didn't think I was a people person. I didn't. But through bartending and through doing hair, I've realized I kind of am. I just have to have it has to be like on my terms, and then I'm fine. I feel safe. But I do love what I've learned through hair and through bartending is I love community. I love bringing people together. I love seeing people in their truest form. I love networking. I don't know. There's this whole side of me I didn't realize until I changed my career like 12 years ago now. And so as the years have gone by, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really do. It's so rewarding. It's nice. So through lockdown, I realized how much of that I missed, and then that's also why that also prompted me and nudged me kind of to start a channel, is because I do love bringing people together and that sense of connectivity. And so through just kind of posting and like stopping by people's houses and bringing little things and picking up stuff for them, it gave me that feeling, a little bit, a little bit of it. So that was nice. So it turned out I didn't really need much time. Like before I was worried, like, I'm gonna run out of things to do, I'm gonna be bored, I'm gonna miss being at the bar, no, none at all, because this whole other version of me was like, move out of the way, it's time for me to take the front seat and start driving this bus, and so in moments where I wasn't sure what to do, which wasn't very often, but once I was kind of settled in my new place and I had a routine, I had my my morning routine going, and I was feeling great, and I couldn't wait to wake up the next morning and start a new day, which was totally new for me. In those moments, I started to practice meditation again, and that's something that has come in and out of my life a few times. And I knew the power of it, and I knew how great it would be, and I remember telling my mom, like, I've been excited to try, but I haven't yet. It was almost like I didn't, like, it's not that I didn't have the time. I did. I don't know. I wanted to almost take like a scientific approach to it and document it somehow, and have different prompts and different, like, I don't know. I just didn't really get around to it right away. But after my walks, I'm not sure exactly when I started to incorporate it, honestly. I'm not really sure how many weeks in or when, but I did start to incorporate meditation into my daily practice, and this is where things really started to take a shift, like in a great way, an exponential level up, where I was like, brought to tears with how good I felt. And the only way I can explain it is I dabbled with ecstasy many years ago, and over again through the years. I'm not gonna lie. But it reminded me of that same type of euphoria. Like, everything is gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. You are loved. Even though my mom would tell me that all the time, and people would tell me, oh, you're loved, yeah, you're great, I wouldn't really absorb it. I wouldn't really take it. I wouldn't accept it. But this time around, it was real, and it was like, it was euphoric, and it was like, it was like, I want other people to feel this. I want other people to feel how awesome this is. So it kind of reminds me of like being with a boyfriend and being like, oh my God, I can't wait till yours kicks in because this feels amazing. Like, this is so cool. Get on my level. And so there's that slight worry for like a minute, like, is this going to go away? It never did. It never went completely away. I still feel like everything's going to be okay. It's almost like, why was I worrying so much all the time? Why was I so worried all the time, living in fear? What if people don't like me? And and I never came out and said those things, but there was a lot of those things that were kept inside that were on the back burner. All my back burner thoughts, all my anxious kinds of thoughts were gone. They just went away, and they would creep back in from time to time, but now I had the tools to quiet them and realize that a lot of that's just ego. A lot of it's just the old story trying to creep its way back into my life. And now, the more time that passes and the more I delve into different positive practices, I have such a good grip on my reality that I'm creating that I get less and less wobbly and more confident and more, have more and more. I'm standing in my power. I'm standing in my power. I was powerless not that long ago and for a substantial amount of time. Now it's like, I truly know what it means to stand in your power. I know what it means to love yourself. I know what it means to truly be happy and feel joy and feel gratitude, and to start my day with gratitude instead of starting my day the complete opposite. It is night and day how I feel now, and it's been sustained. Thank God. That's all for now. Bye.